Hey everybody, how's it going? Everybody ready for a nice fun-filled afternoon of talking about filmmaking? I know I am. This is going to be exciting. Today is exciting for me. A lot of big things to talk about.
Which step of the process do you feel like beginner filmmakers are the most surprises come up in?
Tough question. I think the production process, point of production, is where the most surprises come up, and that's because if you haven't done a lot of it, then you can't account for things that may in pre-production that may like seasoned filmmakers or production people might be aware of that you may not be aware of, like timing, how long it actually takes to get something done. I think that's the hardest part. If in the beginning, it's very, oh, I can get this done in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, no problem. And then when you actually get down to doing it, you come to realize, wow, no, I'm totally wrong. It takes me an hour to get this done. And so your whole schedule can get thrown to the wayside because of that. So I think production's where it rears its ugly head most, and then maybe followed by post-production, where all the mistakes you made in production really show themselves to the world in post when you start editing this stuff together. And so it all ends up tying back to pre-production, because when we're all starting out in the beginning, myself included, we don't really know how everything really works. And so we're doing our best attempt at guessing at making this happen. And so mistakes are going to be made. Assumptions are going to be made that are correct. People may not be reliable. There's a million things that could go wrong. But you don't see that in pre-production, because you just do the best job you can do to plan it. And then once you hit post-production, that's when the fires all start. And I think I've mentioned this concept before, but in filmmaking, one of my jobs as either DP, producer, or director is the role I normally like to play is a firefighter. My job is to put fires out, because there will always be a problem. There will always be something that will go wrong. Guaranteed. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how much time you have, there will always be a problem. And so instead of letting that dictate your work career as a fear factor, you just embrace it and go, okay, well, I'm ready. I know there's going to be a problem, but guess what? I'm going to put that fire out. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to get around this. I'm going to find a solution to whatever this is. And maybe the solution isn't ideal, or it isn't the perfect thing that you envision, but the goal is to find solutions. So that's the thing I'd say most people don't think about. They think everything's going to go perfectly, and it doesn't. So in the end, they're all challenging level at places to, parts of the production process, but the ones that really show themselves are production and post-production.
That makes a lot of sense. When I made my first short, I was like, it's only going to be 5 minutes long. We'll get this done. And it took like 9 hours. So, yeah,
Exactly.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And like I said in the past, it's just repetition, man, doing it over and over and over again. And that's why it's very rare for someone to start out to hit a home run their first time out. Even great directors who got their break early and got their chance, made films. If you really look at what they did, even beyond their IMDb, site, you ask any of them, they probably shot dozens of films, like small little things that they totally screwed up, because you got to get through that whole process of figuring it out how to work. And it's very different than like riding a bike or any other thing, because you have to really have the understanding of the whole thing working to be able to master it, even if you're just doing one role. And that's all good production people, even at the PA's level, they need to learn and understand how this whole thing works. And once you get that in your head, it gets I'm not going to say it gets easier, but it definitely gets easier to do. But it also opens up the avenue of you doing more complex and more intriguing things, because now you understand better how to wrangle them.
Okay.
But that just comes with experience. So everybody who gets bummed out on their first project, or when we talk about our first project today, don't be bummed out. You're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to screw things up. It's okay, because that's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to get better. And then the next one gets better. And after that, it gets better, and so on and so on. And then finally, boom, one day you're like, man, I'm a pretty good filmmaker. And it just happens. But you have to see that path and acknowledge that path and go, okay, well, I understand that it's going to take me a little while. So that might mean instead of just making one film every couple of years, maybe you make as many films as you possibly can just to get through that process. And that's the best thing I can say about it.